Good morning, Service Alliance community. How y'all doing today?
What's going on, everybody? We're
What's
back.
up?
It's Friday. We got Miss Ward. We got the pink hat roofer. Well, today he's the Vulcan hat roofer.
Supporting our buddy Sean down there.
Shout out to Vulcan. They do have some very nice swag, I must say. Not your run of the mill crapperware, what stuff they hand out.
No, it's very swaggy.
Very swaggy. How you doing, Miss Ward?
Phenomenal. Ready to get it in and realizing how blessed I am every day. I'm good, man. Let's get it.
Good
yeah.
stuff. Good stuff.
Good
How you
morning,
doing,
Gary.
Zach?
I am doing great.
Good. Well, it's Friday as always. Drop your comments. We've been talking growth all week. And I was thinking this morning, and we were kind of chatting a little bit. I'm in a weird season in my business where, like, I'm not at all focused on growing in the way you typically think of growth. I'm not planning on hiring anyone anytime soon. I'm not hiring new employees. I'm not expanding to new areas. But we were chatting, and when you really think about it, Zach really drove it home. You're always growing. If you're not growing, you're dying, basically. And for me, I've been really just focused on efficiencies, procedures, systems, just making sure all the stuff that I've worked so hard for are in place, and taking a look back at when I had 10 employees and I was pulling my hair out and screaming and miserable. What are the things that I need to tighten up right now? The number one I posted about yesterday was my bookkeeping. We're getting that on lock. My books are going to be greater than they've ever been because I have a real bookkeeper. We could stop the show at this. If you don't have a good bookkeeper, you better get you one. That's all I got to say. If you don't have somebody, and let's pray and get started before I start this rant, because I could go off for a little bit. All right, Miss Ward, you want to pray us up?
Sure. Lord, thank you for bringing us together this morning. Thank you for covering us throughout our week, year, month. Lord, thank you for bringing us to the fourth quarter in one piece. Lord, thank you for protecting us from danger seen and unseen. Lord, give us the ability to manage and order our steps throughout the remainder of the year. Prepare us for 2025. Reinvigorated. I'm going to just say it, revised, and realizing that we are blessed and that we can't do anything without you. Lord, give us the strength and the wisdom to bring everything to you and lay it on the altar before we move forward in all that we do. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Good morning. Good morning, Gary. Good morning, Repair Pro. Who's Repair Pro? Repair Pro Entrepreneur. Don't recognize him, but shout out to you, man. I like your tag there. But yeah, I got a verse for you guys this morning. And as always, it's going to come from the good old book of Proverbs. It's a simple one, it's a simple one to read, but a tough one to do. Commit your actions to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. Plan will succeed. And pretty self-explanatory, but super hard to do. I struggle with injecting Christ into my business 100%. I'll pray, I'll do the stereotypical stuff. I'll pray for my business. I'll ask that others pray for my business, but I don't feel like I always truly seek his guidance in every decision I make. And that's probably why I've made a lot of bad decisions. But moving forward, I'm really trying to commit my company to God, just to say, hey, this is something you've blessed me with. How can I use it for your glory? I don't want to be that stereotypical Christian company that, has Jesus all over everything, because that's not the route I want to go. But I do want to glorify God with my company. I think the best way we do that, and I'd like to hear y'all's opinion on this, is just by the way we act and the way we treat people. When we go out there every day, do we show the light of Christ, and are we committing the things we do, the things we say, that the stuff we talk about with our customers? Are we showing the love of Christ to them? What do y'all think?
I'll let
I
you go,
agree.
Miss Ward.
Oh, well, while you were thinking about that, I was thinking about my own personal maturity in the process. Me, I'm a badass, excuse my language. So I'm so used to just getting it done, a sure will, all this other stuff. And I love the way that God humbles you by blessing you in business and highlighting your inefficiencies, personally, professionally, technically, and otherwise. So I've definitely welcomed that growth. I've welcomed the humility in just sitting back and realizing I can't control everything. You feel me? That when you take your emotions and you take your hands off it, it's amazing how much you really see, and how when you allow you get out your own way and you really allow God to be God. That's what I have to add to the conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So following that train of thought, right? We had a conversation yesterday with a potential partner, and the way their company philosophy is set up is very much the way that I view the world. Take care of people, and money's going to follow, right? So if we're in business, our job is to serve customers and serve them well, to serve our employees who are our internal customers and serve them well. And so if we're taking care of people, then money's going to follow. If we're putting profit first, if we're putting, the money in front of everything else, it doesn't work. The train completely derails, right? Um, and same thing goes if we're putting God first, and then we're putting our family, and then we're putting our job, right? Everything has to be in that right order. You can't, I think it's Myron Golden says you can't go against God's order. Every time you try and go against the natural laws that he's created, you're going to run into a brick wall.
Yeah.
And I love that he said, I've heard him say there's a lot of unbelievers that have figured it out better than God's own people. It becomes some of the most successful people. They figured out what God's natural order is, and that's where they become successful. So
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And I've paid attention over the years when the conversation of marketing comes up. I notice a reoccurring theme. Every single one of the people out there that are spending $0 in marketing and are successful have something in common, and that's that they're putting their customers first. And I'm not saying that if you're having to spend a bunch of money on marketing that you're not doing that. You might just be in a really tough market. There's a million things to go into that. But at the end of the day, a reoccurring theme that I see in the industry and throughout service is those people that are putting customer satisfaction and customer experience as a top priority. Their businesses seem to flourish. And my business has been extremely blessed despite all of my horrible decisions that I've made over the years. And we're constantly learning. And I think that's where it ties into that growth thing, man. The learning lessons, that's the real growth, man. These lessons that we're learning every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year, and then stacking those lessons on top of each other. That's what makes you can't go into it and win it on your first crack. you're going to have these failures. So the growth comes from those times of saying, hey, you know, I messed up, but it's time to pivot. It's time to learn. And it's time to grow and do better. That's the kind of growth that I'm seeking right now is growth and maturity as a business owner.
So where are each of you in your growth? Like, Miss Ward, where in your growth as a business owner, where are you sitting at right now?
You know, I have always believed that the riches are in the niches. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just basically really honing in. You know, when you go back and look at the videos on my channel, one common theme I always had was gathering data, hands on and gathering data so I can make the right decisions. So that's what I'm doing now. I am critiquing actually on a daily basis my moves, everything from the tools that I use most commonly. Like, I'm so big about efficiency. And because I have such a wide market that I cover and I'm specific on what I service, I don't back down on what I don't service. Like, I don't have gray areas. I used to have a little guilt, like I walk in and somebody say, well, can you work on this? And I'll be like, you'll try and then you'll pull the thing. All that takes time. And because it's not part of my long range plan, what I have learned is how to respectfully say no and provide another option and move on and leave the guilt where I found it, because business is business. And I always tell people, if you are doing the work and you are the owner, there's a premium, period, because of the pride you take in it. So what I'm focusing on, making sure that not only do I show up elite, but I show up prepared, and that I can take care of things in record time and produce the results in record time, so that I have time to invest in other things that I need to do to make me 360 in every area of my life. You both know, as business owners, you get consumed, particularly in the early stages, developing the business and developing the processes, the SOPs. And, you know, with me, I have to watch myself because I have that perfectionist issue, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then, so basically where I'm at in my business is understanding, thank God I'm in appliance repair, because I can get out here and hustle hard enough to financially cover my mistakes. See, that's what people don't understand about appliance repair. If you're monitoring your business, you can recoup quickly if you move yourself out the way, look at the data, because the data don't lie. Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie. But then you have to know what data to extract and then how to apply it. That means take your feelings out. I was just talking to a friend of mine about when I left South Florida a couple of years back, and they were like, everybody thought I was crazy. But I see people drowning in South Florida because I understand, and this is my personal take, is that South Florida and any major city is targeted by these hedge fund companies. They have tons of resources to put between Google ads and any other form of advertising they want to do. And if you don't have an assassin, and I mean a lead generation assassin who understands how to pull the data, find those niches, and slide your company in there to be successful, and you have the skills to get in and execute, you can't win. Because you can't do business the old way. And this is something that I've known from the beginning. So I'm shifted to where I am now simply because I cover a certain market, the Panhandle, North Florida, Central Florida, and I cover Southern Alabama, South Georgia. But but I'm in niche areas. You follow me? But that came from data, and that came from closing my ears to what I like to call ignorance is bliss. Because just because this is what you don't know and don't understand doesn't mean it's not going to work for me. And it has been, by the grace of God, I have been able to excel at a whole nother level and be able to recoup my mistakes because, you follow me? I put myself in position. And I think that's really where my focus is to continually put myself in a position of excellence and of profit, period.
I for me, I'm in growth by retraction. So I am working for people and have been. I think we're going on year 3 of working for people. And in that, where's the growth, right? Well, the growth is I'm seeing the mistakes I made reflected in other companies or improved upon in other companies, right? I'm seeing the areas that I had of weakness in myself that I needed to improve upon to grow as a business owner. I'm seeing those play out in real time, good or bad, whichever side the company's on. And it's allowing me to grow as a person, right? I shared the other day that I had taken a new disc assessment, right? And everything flipped. And all of a sudden, the leadership component of my disc assessment was, like just off the charts. Well, for 4 years, I've been focused on learning how to be a better leader. Because in the post-mortem of the company, I'm looking back and I'm going, dude, it's a wonder I had anyone with me ever. I was a terrible leader. And so I had to focus on leadership. Now I have another set of skills that I'm focusing on, right? I'm focusing more on taking care of the customers first, how to do that effectively, learning how different people fit within a company, right? So you can retract and still grow, and be able to grow even not within your own company, right? So that's kind of where my growth path is at the moment. It's a lot of that personal, what do I need to change to be a successful leader, to be a successful business owner? How about you, TK?
Well, 2024, as I have mentioned before, I decided I'm not growing in employees at all. I made a vow to not hire and hunker down and really dig into my business and work on efficiencies. My business runs extremely efficiently to begin with. We're in a very, very efficient company. But I see little holes here and there. Our number one lack of efficiency was inventory. We had we have an amazing inventory on every single van. Most technicians would do backflips to have the stock that I have on my truck, but it wasn't organized and it wasn't inventoried properly. So we started using Easy Stock and got we committed a lot of time to getting this inventory straight. And I'm getting these little things, and a lot of people might be listening to it like, well, what does that have to do with growth? It has everything to do with growth. Because if you're wanting to scale a business and grow a business and your stuff isn't organized and your systems aren't in place, and not just having the inventory systematized, but having a system in place for your techs, having a system in place for your part manager, we went through all that. And I mean, it is running like clockwork. Just about every day, I see Stone pulling parts from the warehouse. And every time I see that telegram come through that says pulled one from the warehouse, I hear that eBay cha-ching in my ear, even though it's not on eBay. Anybody that's sold on eBay knows the cha-ching I'm talking about. We live for that noise. But it's just saving me money. All these parts that we've had for years. I did a newer Whirlpool laundry center motor this year with the little baby blower wheel on it, and we had the motor in the back. I think we had 2 of them in the back, and it's just saving me money, helping me grow, and helping me not spend money on stuff that I already bought, and getting these systems in place. So that's number 1, inventory. Number 2 is what I already mentioned, and that's the bookkeeping. if you are out there and you are considering growing in any way, shape, or form, and you do not have a solid bookkeeper, stop right now and find you a solid bookkeeper. And your next question is going to be, TK, how do I know if I have a solid bookkeeper? Is she meeting with you monthly to talk about your financials? Is she going over your profit and loss statements with you? Is she going over your asset sheet with you? Is she going over all the different things that a bookkeeper should be? You should be talking to your bookkeeper so much that it gets old. Does she have systems in place in her own business that make it easy for you? My bookkeeper now, she's got a portal. The questions come in, bookkeeper questions. What are all these, what are all these things that you spent money on? All I got to do is hit comment, answer, comment, answer, comment, answer. Easy peasy. I've been through, this is my fourth bookkeeper. Never had a bookkeeper that did the stuff this woman is doing. So those are my two biggest things right now for growth. I'm not focusing on growing in size. I'm focused on growing in efficiency and making me, Austin, and Ethan the most efficient appliance repair technicians that we can possibly be. We're focusing on things like recalls. We're focusing on things on first trip completes. We're looking at these KPIs because all of that affects my bottom dollar. And at the end of the day, if I can get all of us with over a 50% first call completion rate and under a 5% recall rate, that's growth for me. And we are this close to being there.
So it's the foundation. You're actually growing your foundation. It's crazy to me, and it happens in every industry. It happens it not just service, right? Like it's across the board. People will grow and they grow just vertically, right? But that foundation isn't wide enough to support the height that happens, right? So you add a ton of people, but you have no foundation in place. If you don't have SOPs in place, you don't have your bookkeeping in place, you don't have your efficiencies in place, you don't have your data, like Miss Ward said, in place. Like if you don't have these foundations in place, you can't grow in business. Like you can't add people. You can, but it's going to fall over, right? Like, so yeah, you shouldn't try and grow by number of people in the business. And so like really focusing on your foundations, and that's kind of where I was going with growth by retraction, right?
Yeah.
I had to go back to the beginning and go, where the heck was the foundation crumbling? Because I had a wide foundation, but it wasn't a deep foundation. It wasn't a solid place. It wasn't built on a solid place. And so I had to go back and look at, where does my foundation need to be before I do anything else?
Yeah. Well, it goes back to that.
This is a great one, real quick, before we move on to it. Refinement is also growth. And that is what I am getting. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
That illustration, Zach, of the foundation is so perfect. I'm glad that you said that, because
spend a lot of time on that one, buddy.
Yeah. I would say if you're a one-man show out there and you're watching this, or you watch it down the road, please take this to heart. Because when you try to build something on that weak foundation, Christ himself talked about this. He said, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and does them is like a man who built himself upon a rock. And when the storms came and the hard times hit and the shit hit the fan, your foundation was built on a rock. It's the exact same things in business. Take the things that you learn, take the principles that you extract from the Bible and extract from other wise counselors, and build that foundation. So because the storms are coming. He didn't say if the storms come. He said when the storms come. But he said, if you hear these things, you're all hearing it. You hear it from us every freaking morning. You're all hearing it. But if you hear the sayings and you don't apply them and you don't use them, it's like building your house on sand. And when the storm comes, we know what happens to sand. It's just going to wash. That's a great illustration, man. That's really good. I love it. I know we've said it. You've said it before. I've heard you say it.
It's different at different times, man.
It just hit me different this morning. I've heard it a million times, but it just hit me different. If you're a one-man show out there this morning and you're listening to this, please get those foundations. I don't care if you get it from the Service Alliance group. I don't care where you get it. We got it. We got them all over there for you. But at the end of the day, you have to get that foundation built. You have, because when you try to build on that shaky foundation, on that thin foundation, it's just like Zach said, it's going to topple over. And bookkeeping's a big one, just FYI.
You're watching this after the fact, roll the tape back about 20 minutes, and you're going to hear me say you can't go against biblical principles, right? And TK just laid it out. Christ talks about it in the Bible. We are built upon the rock. And if you try and go against those biblical principles, you will always run into problems. Always, always, always. It is the natural order of the world, and you cannot go against them. I'm speaking as someone who's taken lumps on the head. You cannot go against the natural order. It doesn't work.
Yeah, learn from mine and Zach mistakes.
Yeah, it don't work. So,
well, I got a hard stop. Y'all want to do some closing thoughts?
Yeah, I was going to ask, because we're coming into the season of it, and I'm going to start really chatting about this. Take a look down below. Smart goals, November 16th for our all access members. What are some of, like, what's your top 1 or 2 goals for 2025, Miss Ward and TK? Like, whether it's growth, it's foundational, it's whatever it is, what are like 2 of your top goals that you've started working on for 2025?
You want to go first, Miss Ward, or you want me to?
Sure, I can. My top goal is clarity and health, period. Clarity and health. I feel everything else falls in place when you have your spiritual compass in order and you're clear, and that your health, as far as for me, as far as my weight, my workout, all those things, that's my biggest concern, because I feel like you can't do nothing else without that. Period.
Love
for
it.
sure. So I have some personal goals for 2025, and then I have some business goals. My biggest business goal for 2025 is to roll out these service plans. I haven't been talking about it a lot in public, but I feel like I'm at a point now where I can discuss it a little bit. We're going to be rolling out service plans in 2025, Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. And really, my second biggest business one for 2025 is focusing on my numbers like I never have before. I want to be that business owner that you can ask me any single statistic on my business. Because now when you ask me a statistic, I don't remember it. I got to go look. Zach was asking me about some financials the other day, and I was like, dude, I have no idea. I got to go ask some book or pull it from QuickBooks. But I want to be that nerdy guy. Like, I want to push and here's the reason. I know that's not my strong point. And I want to sharpen myself in that area, and I want to get more disciplined about knowing the numbers off the top of my head. Because we've all met those business owners, and I'm always impressed with them when you ask them a financial question and they know every single little bit. And I'm just not that person, but I aspire to be, and I want to put forth the effort and learn the disciplines of doing that. So those are my two big: rolling out the service plans / maintenance plans, and then just becoming a freaking numbers nerd. Zach's kind of inspired me a little bit on that recently as our new CFO of Service Alliance Group.
Yeah. somewhere along the way I became a CFO. I don't know when it happened or how it happened. I think it's that
Yeah.
ADHD, a little bit of autism and
We should get you a
neuroticism.
shirt made that says or a hat CFO.
No, and so where that came from for me, which is one of my 2025 goals is knowing the numbers even better and being able to do it kind of at hand. And if you want to learn something, if you want to get better at something, teach people. And so I've been working with EJ to be able to have those numbers at hand, to be able to have a system in place to glance at one sheet and know right where he's at, right what he needs to know at hand. And then, I'll be helping TK as we come into the new year understand, like, how do we do this quickly and do it every single day, because I want to be able to do that every single day. It's an area that I had to grow in myself. It was an area, and I recognize patterns, right? And so I didn't see them in my own business, and now I see the importance of it. And so that is a goal for 2025 for myself, is to be even better, which is part of why I'm teaching it. And then health, like this build season took health away from me. I didn't have time to do anything unless I was getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I might have to do that next year. If I prioritize my health next year, I might have to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to go and work out. It just may have to be what it is. But in 2025, I'm putting my health first again. So
Yeah, me too. I've been doing that quite a bit in 2024. I've been going back to the gym, trying to eat better. Not hardcore, but I think 2025 I'm going to get pretty hardcore and try to get down to like 185 or 190. I'm at 203 right now, and 203 is a lot better than 230, which is where I was, but I'd like to get down to about 185, 190 and just be freaking ripped. Could y'all imagine me all ripped and chiseled?
no comment.
Look out.
All right, guys. Well, great Friday.
Yeah.
ServiceAllianceGroup.com. That mastermind is coming up quick. We're coming to the end of October. Get into ServiceAllianceGroup.com as an all access member. These masterminds are free every single month for our all access members. We want you to be in community. We want you to be able to grow in whatever way you want to grow, whether it's personal growth, business growth, whatever it is. We want to see you grow. And so SMART Goals, November 16th, I'll be leading that, preparing us for Q1 of 2025. So, yeah, that's all I got.
Ant Dog in the house. Morning, Ant Dog. All right. Well, you guys have a great weekend. Thank you, Ms. Ward, for joining us. If you haven't gone over to Solid Steps for Wealth, make sure to subscribe. If you haven't joined the Service Alliance Group.com all access, get on there so we don't miss you on November 16th. Hope everybody has a great weekend, and we will catch you guys next time. Peace.
Have a good one, guys.